think that you are being infringed. Which part? Because you're the MDCT. You have decided to pull out because you are now exercising your authority without consulting other members of the alliance. You are withdrawing MPs. You are not consulting other members of the alliance. Right? So, as it stands, you have pulled out of the alliance. And you continue to claim ownership of. So, which one? What I want to ask, which part of it? The MDC part or the alliance? Which part of the name do you want? I just want you to be clear on that.
Let us be clear, Blessed.
Yeah.
The pulling out of the alliance, that's your narrative. That's not our narrative.
No, but you are not consulting your alliance partners.
Wait.
You are doing things by yourself. Right?
And calling yourself in alliance.
Yes. Look, you agree.
Having asked me a question,
yeah,
I think it would be only decent if I could be given the opportunity to answer it.
Yes, but you are misleading us. So I want to correct you before you continue to ask. You are simply you are saying that it's a narrative that you pulled out of the alliance. But you are writing letters as the MDCT, not as the MDC alliance, recalling people from Parliament as MDCT, not as MDC alliance. So if you are part of the alliance, you would have agreed as the alliance. Is it not, common sense that you write your letters as MDC alliance withdrawing members? Is it not common sense?
Right. I still insist that if you ask me a question, you must give me an opportunity to answer you. You are not going to be able to determine or appreciate before you hear right to the end of the answer. So you must, if I'm patient enough to hear you through, because your questions, by the way, by the time you start, I can tell where you are going, and I have an answer, but I'm patient enough to listen to you to the end, and I'm expecting you to, or requesting you to do the same. Now, our agreement goes like this. It says these 7 parties, they will not contest each other. So as an example, if you were to go, say to Bulawa Yomakwekwe, you are not going to have one of the alliance members. You are not going to have one of the alliance members contest there, and another alliance member sponsor a candidate for the same constituency. That's what no, wait.
You sponsored a candidate as MDCT that contested.
Can you wait?
So this is
can you wait, please? Because I'm trying to help you here with the entanglement. So that's not going to happen. But when it comes to operations in Parliament, we are going to operate as independent parties. So you will find that MDCT will have its own caucus, PDP will have its own caucus, MDC Green will have its caucus and its own chief whip and all those things. So when it comes to recalls, we have the sole and exclusive mandate as MDCT to recall those whom we have sponsored. Hence, we are not recalling people like Piti. Hence, we are not recalling people like Jacob Mafume. We can't, because he was sponsored into the alliance by PDP, not by us. No.
Who's the chief
wait.
Because you said that your agreement says political party.
Wait, I'm trying to answer you.
Yes.
I'm trying to answer you. I'm trying to help you. Please, wait. Now, I'm saying we can only withdraw those whom we have sponsored in the alliance. Your question, which says, but you sponsored candidates. When you're saying you, don't conflict the MDCT, this MDCT which I represent, and the MDCT of Stanley Square. Because the court, this court that has established what we are having now as this MDCT, has since said the MDCT of Stanley Square is null and void. That's what the courts have said. So you can't turn to me and want to resurrect that which the court has said is null and void. It's not there. Just as much as it said, the MDC Alliance of Gweru 2019 is not there. And I wish, as media, you could accept that for what it is and begin to communicate it to your people, because we are having this almost on a daily basis.
No, we ask you questions so that you communicate.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we just said, he said, you are a medium of communication. You communicate, we give them what you're communicating, not the media.
Right. No, but I keep being asked this question, which I keep responding to daily, to say, if Blessed says to me, you contested each other, and I tell him that since, yes, we did, But after the judgment is simply said that MDCT does not exist. That's what the judgment is saying. Now, he can't go back there today when I've explained that yesterday. At least you must then appreciate that the answer is going to be the same.
I've read the court judgment. It does not say that the MDCT that was elected in Stanley Square does not exist. It doesn't say that. The court judgment does not say that. It's your interpretation. The court judgment deals with the legitimacy of the leadership, not what happened at Stanley Square. So this is why we then keep asking you the question, because what you'll be saying won't be making sense. So I want to understand you better. Because if I leave you and go out, I'll still come back and ask you the same question. Because I'm not understanding you.
Blessed, the same argument which you are making, okay, the same question which you are asking me, it was put before a court of law when we made the first recalls. We made the very first recalls of the four recalls.
No, that was not the question that was before the court.
No.
The question that was answered by the court was basically number one, MDC Alliance is not a legal person and therefore cannot sue or be sued. It was thrown out by technicalities. The issue, the merit of whether MDC Alliance or not, was not discussed before the court. So this is why I keep interjecting, because I cannot allow you, in all honest conscience, to say things that are not non-existent.
No, interjecting shows that you are disrespecting me. You don't want me to answer the questions. And I'm saying to you, you can differ with the questions later, but to interject me when I'm answering you, it's just not decent, my friend. Now, I'm saying to you, we went to court after we recalled 4 of them. And they argued in court that we can't recall them because they're a different entity altogether. That's what they argued. And the court rejected that argument.
No, it didn't. That's why I'm saying it didn't. It said the MDC Alliance is not a legal person. And therefore, on technicality, that matter was thrown out. Please let us be factual.
The matter was not thrown out on technicality. The matter was thrown out because that was our argument that we made. We made an argument that the MPs that are in Parliament, which we are recalling, they are MDCT MPs. I'm telling you on what we argued. Even this whole issue, when you're calling it technical, it's not a technicality, it's us who argued that these guys are not a party. They are not a legal person. It was our argument, which they could not defend. So I'm saying to you, you are making statements here, sweeping statements as if you are making facts. And I'm telling you what happened is we made an argument before a court of law and said these people are not a political party. And then we produced the agreement. And maybe just to help you more, when we went for that case, Honorable Beatty came to court and he was purportedly representing some of the members there. You know what our legal team did? Our legal team managed to strike him out as a lawyer, and we said if anything we want him as a witness because he's a signatory to the alliance agreement. And that's how he just came once in that court and he couldn't come anymore. On the very same basis that I'm bringing to you, that they could not show cause that they're a political party. They are not a political party, as MDC Alliance parties they want to claim. So we are able to withdraw our MDC Alliance MPs, which we forwarded as MDCT. And that's legally sound. We are able to do that. We are able to withdraw them. We are able to replace them. We are operating. But if we were then to start to try and recall PDP, try to recall MDC Green, we won't be able to, because legally we can't. Our agreement restricts us to MDC T MPs. Your question number 3 was, is the campaign open? The campaign is not open. It will be open maybe after the standing committee. Yes, I agree with you that those who are campaigning, they've actually jumped the gun. And it will be up to us as the members of the MDC to see what we make of such people. If the campaign is not open and you start campaigning, in some cases the campaigns are vicious, which will be against the rules. So I guess it's up to the members, because if we were to act as leadership, in most cases we'll be accused of frustrating or trying to marginalize or remove unfairly so certain candidates. But I think it's incumbent upon the members the delegates who are voting to ask themselves hard questions to say, if Mr. Pugeni wants to be a leader and he has no regard for rules, he's not restricted by rules, what will happen of Mr. Pugeni when he becomes a leader? I think to answer you direct is the campaign is not open. Those that are campaigning before the campaign is open, it's up to the delegates to make a determination about them. The second question was from Costa. So the second one, that asked about skirmishes, right? Yeah, asked about skirmishes at Gutu. I am reluctant to speak about this matter. You would have noticed even from the press interactions I did after the incident. I'm reluctant. I'll tell you why I'm reluctant. I think NC is going through a difficult time right now. Losing a mother is not a small thing. And I really want to remove politics out of it. I understand that as the media and even the general public, you have interest in these things, but my sense of humanity does not allow me to just keep on talking over this matter. But let me say this, and I hope there will be no follow up on this, because even if there is, I'm really not going to entertain it. But let me take it in this way. President Khupe received a phone call from Murisi Zuzai. And in that phone call, he says, Madam President, I'm phoning to share the sad news with you. Gogo Chamisa is late. So obviously, Madam President was shocked. So they spoke, and Murisi did some with when they hear, and then they will check if Madam President will be able to attend the funeral, which he said she will be able to attend. She then gave me a call to say such a thing has happened, and I must issue a statement on behalf of the party, which statement I'm sure most of you saw. And then I then said, Madam President, have you called him? Madam President said, no, I've sent him a message. And I said, Madam President, I think you need to call him. So obviously, those of you that know, NC has a lot of numbers. So it's easy to send a message because you know you get it. But which one you can find him on voice, it's very difficult. So we at least managed to track down the number that Madam President could find him on, and he was called. And obviously was happy that the Madam President was able to console him, and they called out a conversation, and the whole question of will you be able to make it to the funeral, and yes, I'll be able to make it. Madam President then tasked me to speak to Murisi to make sure, kind of like arrange that there will be no skirmishes, there will be no... I must admit, I did not call Murisi, I didn't contact him until we arrived there. So when we arrived there, there was a security checkpoint about 100 or so meters, could be less, from the homestead. So we passed that checkpoint, and obviously that checkpoint would have then alerted the security that the Banakaka and Kudov are coming. They came to us and asked us to park somewhere while they arranged, because NC wanted to come and go with Madam President to where the tent was and everything. Unfortunately, the youths, I spoke to you 3 weeks ago about the impressionable character of the youth. So there were those skirmishes which we just thought, this will take away the attention of this most solemn moment which was happening, the burial of a mother, the grief that the family was going through, and everyone there. And at that time, we made a decision, and we managed to convince Madam President that while it's to appreciate that NC is making all the efforts, and he was very, very gracious, and I really felt sorry that he had to go through what he went through. And it was at that point that after they spoke at length with Madam President that we then said to Dr. Kulego Slanda, tell him we wish him well and we are to be. So that's what happened there. And then you spoke of the demonstrations, your second question, demonstrations with regards to the extraordinary Congress. We are worried and suspicious because we are receiving a lot of intelligence that there are credible attempts to disrupt our extraordinary Congress. So and we found it very suspicious that after we announced our date and then there is this demonstration which is now being penned for the 31st. I hear when you say it's against corruption, but I wish you could take a look around the councils which our Eastwide friends were in charge of until up to now. You look at the corruption there, it's amazing. It's frightening. It's frightening what is happening there. So maybe, you know, the English saying that says don't throw stones when you're living at a glass house. Really, to me, it still remains suspicious. Corruption is a cancer, by the way. And if we were to unite in our efforts as a country to deal with corruption, most of the socio-economic ills which our people are tackling with, they won't be there. So I don't want it to be lost to you, or I don't want any doubt that we condone corruption. No, we're against corruption. We abhor corruption. We will fight corruption with everything we have in us. Now here is a question, Costa. With the havoc which COVID-19 is doing worldwide, by the way, look at what it's doing in America. And America has the capacity, well, at least we thought it had the capacity to deal with COVID. I mean their healthcare system. And we found out that no, it was exposed. It doesn't have the capacity. Now in a country like Zimbabwe, with doctors on strike, with the nurses also on an industrial action, with no medicine to speak of in this country, not even Panado. And then you want to go on a mass action, exposing so many people to COVID. And if they get that COVID, which health system is going to be able to cater for them? So there must be a balance here. Whatever you do, there should be a cost-benefit analysis. So having taken part in this demonstration, what are we going to achieve on the day, which is going to set off the COVID threat, that the proliferation of the disease, of the virus in people? So no, it doesn't make sense to me. Honestly speaking, it doesn't make sense to me. COVID, this is not a job. This is serious. So if we are going to do demonstrations, yes, but not during COVID time. I am not going to be that irresponsible. You know, you see me fighting with Blessed like this. We talk sometimes on a very cordial basis. So on his social media page, he's got these beautiful kids there. And I said to him, please borrow me these kids for weekend. He says, after COVID. Well, I was borrowing kids because my kids were locked outside the country because of COVID. So he says after COVID. Now, you know, even if my kids were here, I do have teenage kids. I'm not going to send them to that demonstration. I don't want him to go to that demonstration because those kids still need a father. I don't want him to send his kids there because COVID is real. And if I don't want to send my kids, and if I don't want a Blessed to send his kids there, because instead of interviewing me now, he will be worried about the health crisis in his family, whose child should I send there?
So can I just make a follow-up here?
Yeah.
So what's so particular, what's so unique, what's so peculiar about your extraordinary Congress, which doesn't have the capacity also to spread the COVID-19 pandemic? Because honestly, if you're saying demonstration is the capacity to spread the COVID-19, so is also your extraordinary powers.
No, that's a very fair question, and thank you for asking. It's a very, very fair question. But you will appreciate that I said we are caught between a rock and a hard place. There's a Supreme Court judgment, the highest court in the land on this matter. So, maybe what I didn't tell you is that we have an option of our lawyers to approach the same court and say, look at this. Because remember, we have tried to apply for a waiver from the health authorities, from the police, which they have said no. So the standing committee is still looking at these matters. But that's a very fair question, and I thank you for asking it. But really, it's up to the Supreme Court, you see. And so you're caught between two arms of government. You're caught between the judicial arm of government, which is the Supreme Court, and the executive arm of government, which is the health authorities and the police. And we, in this case, we are just really the underdogs here that have got these two arms of government that are giving conflicting instructions to us. And please fight for us through your paper, you know, because what will we do? We are really vulnerable here. We are damned if we do, damned if we don't do. If I don't do the extraordinary Congress, your friend Blessed and probably Rob and Mugove are going to say, I'm scared of an extraordinary Congress because you're going to lose and all those things. If I do it, then a valid question again, what of COVID-19? So, yeah, I think I once said it, I think I was seated here and I said, look, if we were to be forced to go to a Congress without the clearance of the health authorities, personally as an individual, I won't be there. Because public health is very, very important. But the party, that's why we're having this meeting on a Sunday. We are struggling with the two instructions from the executive arm of government, which we have we have an obligation to follow, and also the judicial arm of government, which is the Supreme Court. So Robert says the affidavits the lawyers have the power to do something for their clients. Rob, I wouldn't just suspect a fraud without basis. This issue is before a court of law, so very soon it will be public knowledge. So for now, please just allow me to get away with this. Yeah, to just allow me to get away with just this. That there is suspicion of fraud. I'm going to substantiate it in a court of law. So just for my legal strategy, just allow me to stop here. I'm going to substantiate it in a court of law, which if I don't, obviously I'm going to be sitting in this very same desk in a few days to come. Then you will please indulge me on that one, my friend. I really thank you. So you asked about the affidavit. What was the second one? I'm sorry.
The recall of the councillors.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the recall of the councillors. The issue of the councillors. You heard me speak of corruption in the councils. So we have the corruption issue. We have this whole political upheaval also in the council. So what the standing committee resolved is that matter must be given to the Secretary for Local Government, which is seized with right now. So he is going to guide us in that process. Question number 4: possibility of violence in Harare. I think I've somewhat covered this in saying. Because obviously when the police are saying no, because they are the very same people again who are supposed to protect us in the event that the Supreme Court says to us, you are not getting a waiver. You know, if the Supreme Court says, go ahead with your Congress, regardless of COVID, regardless of the security threat, because, look, I'm seated here as a spokesperson of the party, but obviously as a person I sit there and I analyze, you know, I'm also an analyst, I follow the political events. If you follow the press conference which ZANU-PF did you do realize that well, we really 31st has the potential to be blood. So I don't know. We will hear from the police. On our part, you see that it's something that we're seized with in our meeting as a standing committee, but it's something in the police hands. They have to protect all of us. If the court orders and say go ahead with this thing, then the police have a duty to protect our people. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Unless the lady wants to ask a question. If the lady doesn't want to ask a question, we are done for the day.
Just one penny.
You've got a pending one?
Yeah, we have read reports that you...
As long as you can give me that jacket.
Of course, I will share with you. I'm not that steam.
All right.
So we have read reports that your party have received under the Political Finances Act a lump sum of about 7 million. I don't know. Would you just like to confirm to us?
Can you qualify to the citizens of the world? 7 million sounds a lot of money until in Zimbabwe. Yes, we did get 7.4 million bond dollars, and that money, I think in today's parallel market terms, we are talking of about 70,000 US dollars, and it's dropping like so. Yeah, we received it that other Friday, not this Friday. We received it that other Friday. Like 770. Yeah, 7 million to 70,000 US dollars. That's how difficult things are. But yeah, yes, we do it. I can confirm we did receive that money. It's not a bounty. People talk as if it's a lot of money. No, that's yeah.
But we understand there have been an interdict from your former colleagues that you shouldn't have been given this money.
Yeah, what they did, and remember, I speak under correction here because we were not taken to court. Remember they took the two ministries. I think they took the Minister of Finance and Minister of Justice. They took the two ministries to court. They got that interdict, if I'm not mistaken, and the two ministries appealed, and the appeal has the effect of what, of suspending. So that is what should have happened.
So this is for follow-up.
Okay.
So doesn't that cast you in bad light that the government actually appealed so that it gives you now if there are allegations that they are ZANU-PF sponsor? So doesn't this cast aspersions to that effect?
No, you see, that is where the problem is in Zimbabwe, this selective amnesia or selective application or understanding of the rules. Justice Mushore gave a judgment to the effect that Dr. Khupe is the only legitimate vice president and then therefore the only legitimate successor to Honorable Dr. Tsvangirai after the demise of our president. Now, what then happened is that NC and his group then appealed, and that appeal had the effect of what? Of suspending Justice Mushore's judgment, and there were no issues whatsoever. And so we are glad that they appealed. If they didn't appeal, we were going to have interest ourselves and do something about it, because it's, remember, this is what Prof. Mube said. He said the judgment is a dud. In other words, the judgment is useless. And everything they've been doing since then, it has been court challenge after court challenge on frivolous basis, by the way, to try and render that Supreme Court judgment a dud, and we're never going to have that. By the way, this take of being ZANU, let's deal with it. Let's deal with it, objectively so. I'm willing to make a case beyond reasonable doubt that we're not ZANU. Instead, our detractors are the ones that are close to ZANU. And I'm willing to say those that represent the general public can make a case not beyond reasonable doubt, which is the standard I'm imposing on myself to defend my party, but on probability. So in other words, on 50 plus 1. I'm willing to really defend this case, because I defended it the other time. I mean, when did you become ZANU? So in this country, you become ZANU when you differ with NC. Because honestly speaking, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, you have a national Congress of the MDC T in 2014, right? In that National Congress, we elect the president and his vice. So it's Dr. Tsvangirai, the vice president, Dr. Khupe. And then we make groundbreaking resolutions in that Congress. What do we say? We say all the deputies of Congress will no longer be elected but appointed to serve for vice president and deputy chairperson. Why did we say that? We said that because we realized that these people, at some stage, they can assume the powers of the president. Because in the demise of the president, the vice presidents take over. If the vice president is not there, the chairperson takes over. If the chairperson is not there, the deputy chairperson takes over. So we appreciated as Congress that one of these four, or in fact all of these four, they have the potential to exercise the presidential power. So we say vice president we elect, deputy chairperson we elect. Anything from there, the president gets to appoint. That's what we say. In that, those are the resolutions of that Congress. This is 2014, right? There is no disagreement. 2015, there is no disagreement. 2016, there is no disagreement. All of a sudden, Congress said president must appoint deputies. What has changed? And I'll tell you what has changed. President Tsvangirai has fallen ill with a grave illness, and those that want to usurp power have calculated. And they've said, you know what? I want this power by all means necessary. That's not MDC. That's not how we operate. And you know what had to happen then. You then started having the constitution changed in 2016. Something which was done in 2014. You now change the constitution looking backwards. Those are not actions of MDC. Those are not our actions. So they changed this constitution because they now want to usurp, they want to impose themselves as leaders, but make it look like it's constitutional. You know what happened? Before the body of the president landed here, I presided in South Africa, by the way, on his memorial in South Africa. I have pictures at the airport when the body was leaving, my hands over the coffin there, saying goodbye to my leader. Before it landed here in this country, there were already gathering people here in some sort of a meeting claiming it's a National Council meeting because there was supposedly noise in the cockpit. It didn't stop here. You saw what happened in Puera. But what breaks my heart the most is that we could not celebrate our 20th birthday as the MDC. You know why? Because Mugabe had died, and then therefore celebrations needed to be suspended. They afforded Mugabe what they could not afford our founding father. Our founding father did not get that respect. With Mugabe, they suspended everything and they mourned Mugabe. They won't do that with our father. That's not MDC.
But folks,
no, please, let me finish this point.
Let's have a conversation.
We will.
You keep on referring to NC as the controller of everything that happens. What stopped you? In as much as they did not, you were under MDC T with Madame Khupe. Why didn't you celebrate the life of your founding father when they were celebrating the life of Robert Mugabe?
I will answer you, my friend. Please just afford me the courtesy to finish making my case, then you can make a case for them.
No, I'm following the questions from the... You are taking long to explain.
No, it's okay.
The questions are running away from the viewer.
It's okay. Maybe I'm not as skilled as you guys. Just allow me, please. Just afford me that courtesy. So, all of this is happening, right? They go to Puera. All that violence in Puera, that's not MDC. That's not MDC. Violence is not part of MDC. Now, and then you want to turn back to the...
was beaten downstairs by the MDC. In the truth, Stevenson was beaten in the MDC. Tabitha Kumalo was beaten at Khupe's restaurant in Arab. That is MDC we know. The violence is the MDC we know.
But please give me the courtesy to finish, then I'll give you an opportunity. So, we saw the military style. And even during the dark days of our country, the ground dark days, when people were threatened to be burned alive for their ethnicity, because of their ethnicity. That's not MDC. Now, and then today, you have people saying, you are ZANU. There are victims here. How can we be ZANU? Now, the issues you are referring to, maybe let me start with Rob. Dr. Khupe did not stop celebrating, she did. It was small, obvious. In line with the size of her faction, it was a smaller party. So she did celebrate. It didn't make it to the headlines. You know, you guys, the MTC that happened in Bulawayo never got your attention anyway. So it can't be a surprise today that how come, you know, Blessed didn't care
so
about
if you
us.
celebrated, you should have started by saying, we celebrated.
No, we did.
Yeah, that's it.
How come we didn't know that? How come we didn't know that?
No, it's
we
not,
did.
It's a question for a
My
viewer.
friend, anything empty, it's me. No, I can take anything Tsvangirai, that's me. Even if you guys covered or didn't cover, I celebrated everything Tsvangirai. I was with that man right to the end. I'll be with him all the way. Now, I would never celebrate Mugabe. So, no, obvious, it goes without saying that anything Dr. Khupe would have celebrated anything Tsvangirai. So, no, we are not there at all. Now, the violence which you've mentioned, do you realize that it's this same group of people that have been doing all of this violence? This same group of people. Well, look, you know President Tsvangirai all the time there was violence. He sat here and denounced it.
You
and tried to...
have a security guard for Madame Khupe in this house. These guys were not there.
Sorry? We what?
The security guard, Madame Khupe security was beaten up in this house, Harvest House, 3 weeks ago.
Well,
and in your last press conference, you actually acknowledged that there's an investigation into that violence.
yeah,
So that is the MDC. We have known MDC to
no. Blessed, be fair, my friend. I did speak to the level of violence. The age of Dr. Khupe, who was manhandled or physically ruffled here, we did appreciate it for the Congress political nature it is. We did appreciate it for that. And as you correctly say, I didn't shy away from it. I dealt with it and I said, the Secretary for Security is looking at it. But I'm pushing back from saying we are ZANU. I'm trying to show you that there is nothing ZANU about us. There are certain things that come with the nature of politics. Here and there, you know, like you spoke about certain people campaigning even before the campaign is open, whatever. Those things will happen, but they are not extreme that could cause you to paint us as a ZANU. That's the point I was making. But I think in a fair society, which is your people that you are broadcasting to, I think I've made the case to show that there is nothing ZANU about us, but the other side, because everything they have done is not according to the book. And I will prove to Rob in a few weeks' time that there is fraud involved in these affidavits. There is fraud involved in these affidavits. Now, we must abhor such actions as a society, because he spoke of corruption, that the demonstration is against corruption. But if we are always looking the other side, when people basically 2 years down the line bastardize the constitution of an organization, of a people's organization, so that they benefit personally, that should worry you. And you can't say...
But surely you can't dismiss this, because you have the health minister who was implicated in this corruption, who was brought before the courts and ultimately fired because of corruption. And surely as a party that seeks to give an answer to the Zimbabwean people, you should abide by this call against corruption.
No. Hey, Robert, let me help you. No, sorry, Costa, no, sorry, Rob, sorry. Costa, do not, and this I'm saying it advisedly, do not impose a fictitious choice for us. No, you can't say you have a choice to support this demonstration or else you condone corruption. No, that's not true. Because I can shock you, this demonstration has nothing, by the way, to do with corruption. I can tell you that. This is a fight, a political fight that is happening here between these two political formations, ZANU-PF and MDC Alliance. This is what this whole thing is all about. I have given you something and I see you didn't catch it here. Tell me, what are they promising you after the 31st with regards to this fight of corruption? Will corruption cease in this country?
How do you bring in the MDC Alliance? Because the MDC Alliance, also Chamisa said, is not part of it, but he will support those who want. So how do you bring him in? I just want to appreciate.
He said he's not part of what?
Of the July 31 call.
He's not part of the July 31.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then
He said it.
No.
Public,
Wait.
so maybe
Wait. If you are saying the MDC Alliance is not part of the 31st call, you're saying it's not part of the 31st call.
Yes, that's what they said.
Oh, so if they're not part of the 31st call, how come they are not treated like us? Because if we're saying we're not part of it, then somehow we're condoning corruption.
No, they said we are not part of it, but we will join those who are part of it. Anyone who comes with an idea that supports the freedom of the people, we will join it. That's what Nelson Chamisa said at his rally Sunday last week. He said we are not part of it, but we will support it.
Let me remind you something. Because like I said, selective amnesia. Let me help you. You remember the last demo that happened like this under the disguise? I'm using this word also advisor.
Okay.
Under the disguise of ZCTU. About 30 to 5 people died there, which they were later announced from this podium to have been stupid. Now. No, I'm not going to announce anyone stupid later. I'm not going to take part in that. I'm not going to advise anyone to take part in that. Because I've got foresight. I have foresight. I can see where this thing is going.
Yeah, you didn't answer my question. My question was just simple, Mr. Khupe, that how are you linking Nelson Chamisa in this? Do you have information that we do not have? Favor us with it.
I'm favoring you with that information. I'm saying to you, there was a protest under the guise of ZCTU. That protest ended up with people here being called stupid from this podium.
That's the wrong thing, although altogether you're mixing issues like that. Because the ZCTU one which happened in January, NC said they are stupid for protesting before the results came out. So it was the August one we said.
Oh, okay. Alright, so the ZCTU one, the alliance never claimed anything to do with it?
I didn't say that, I'm just correcting.
No, but fine. I take the correction. I'm saying the ZCTU one, they never claimed to have anything to do with it.
They said ZCTU is their mother and they support, but they said they are not part of it.
They were never part of that
That's
protest.
what they said. I didn't say they were not. That's what they said.
Okay. I'm answering
So
you. I'm answering you to say it is never enough for someone to simply say I'm not part of this when they are in actual fact behind or part of it. So I'm saying, let me allow you to win on this one for now.
No, I don't want to win.
No.
I want clarity.
No.
That's all I
Let
want.
me allow you to win for this stage now. The 31st is what? Is at the very most about 3 weeks away. The 31st. Let's have this conversation. Who was behind the 31st? After the 31st.
But you
no,
saved me to give me intelligence, you know?
No. I'm giving you foresight. This is
Because if you had intelligence, you know.
This is not intelligence. This is foresight.
Oh, you have foresight that they're involved.
This is clear, my friend. This is clear. Go to social media. See the characters that are involved. See the people behind this thing. So now, if you want to be willfully ignorant, I can help it. Willful ignorance, it's fine. I have foresight. I can see where this thing is going. I can see the characters behind this whole thing. I am not, as I said, blessed. I love your kids too much. I advise you to stay at home. I don't send my kids out there. You're not going to send your kids out there. I'm not going to encourage anyone. I'm not going to do that. As a party, he spoke of Dr. Moyo, who was arrested. Obvious, the guy's been arrested. He's even been discharged from his duties as a minister. So, and we support that. So we are against corruption. We don't want corruption. But to go on this political adventurism and expose people to COVID-19, we're not going to do that. Thank you guys.